All right, shalom everyone, and peace for those who love peace, and no peace for the wicked, the Lord said. Today, our topic about some, always during my journey with Muslims and some who call themselves Christians and really Christians. Before 9/11, when I speak about Islam, I used to go to programs like Pal Talk. I opened a chat room there, became very popular. But before 9/11, when I go to speak to Christians, there's a section in Pal Talk. I don't know how many of you heard of it. Pal Talk was the most useful chat program ever, exist until YouTube and those things came to exist. So when I go to Christians and I try to tell them about Islam, the Christians used to bounce me out of the chat room, which means they kick you out. Literally, they kick me out. And it was like this. Anytime, any second, I go to a Christian chat room, right away, they kick me out. Christians. We know that Paul, I'm not saying I am Paul, but just to give you an example, there's a churches which is full of pagans. They don't want Paul to be there because Paul will remind them of their sin and fornication and paganism. Paul will not hesitate to call them out because they are a bunch of a clown. They claim to be Christians, but in reality they are not. And even the one who have little decency in his heart, uh, he understands Christianity wrong. And today I'm going to show you one of the clowns who yesterday made a comment, and I warned him not to delete his comment because I took a screenshot. So if he delete it, we have it. Because it's what happened, when you put them in the shelf, right away they feel the shame. Uh-oh, I'm going to be exposed. So I told him I'm going to uh, respond to what you said. Let us go to the comment. And as you see, for me, when somebody criticizes me, I put his comment in the top. I don't delete it like some others, because they are, not confident of what they believe and what they do. So the second somebody, criticize them, they cry. They find it like a threat. Uh-oh, look what this guy said about me. Let me take it down before anyone see it. So this guy, his name is Turtle, and I don't know how slow you are, but whoever gave you the name, he was not mistaken. So Mr. Turtle, who claimed to be Christian, saying, CP, and he is posting for me some verses, numbers, as you see. Question, do you think that you are doing those two commands from the Almighty Divine God correctly in your trying to minister to Almighty Divine God? What happened? And then to make it short, he said, and sharing the Almighty Divine God salvation gospel with them by using profanity and same disrespectful method you use. Man, you scumbag idiot. You see, the Bible forbid me from calling a Christian person a stupid fool. But the Bible command me to call you a fool and a scumbag and even a viper, if this is who you are. And this is what Jesus said to the believers who they are the rabbis. He called them snakes, bloodsuckers. So this bloodsucker claiming that I am sharing the divine salvation with them by using profanity. I did? You stupid idiot. You mentally little slow turtle. You stay inside your box, you idiot. I'm reading their books, you donkey. So if I read the books which is full of a profanity, I am sharing the gospel by using profanity? So what do you want to say to the Muslims? You don't say to them what is written in their book about the garbage and the sin and the filth? Oh, we are Christian, we love you. Give me a hug, give me a hug. This is what Jesus taught you? I want you to, and you know, when he quote for your verses, look, I mean, look at this, just look at this idiot. He quote for me verses from the Bible. If we go to any one of them, he has shown you, O mortal, what is good and what does the Lord require. By the way, I don't like this international translation. Skip it. There's a lot of mistakes in the translation. I don't accept it. Anyway, actually, he mentioned King James Version, you know, so I will, okay. Is good and what does the Lord require of thee? But do justly and love mercy and walk humbly with God. How I was not doing justly by saying Muhammad a fraud, filthy scumbag, rapist. How I am not doing justly by saying Muhammad, he promised his followers to have endless penis. I mean, do you see this? How stupid you are? Like, you know, justly, if I am, if I say to a Muslim, you are a wicked, am I being justly or not? Isn't this what the Bible says? How many verses I can show you from the Bible about God and Jesus and the disciple calling people wicked? Because they are. So look how stupid he is. And about humbly, I mean, how humble I can be more than this, staying with the Muslim, speaking for him hours and hours, and for free. I never praise myself. People call me names. People make the death threat to me. And you little turtle, you never even make one word to bring a Muslim out of Islam. I click at your name and, you know, what is your videos? Where is your show us, or, you know, your majesty, how you can do it better? Why you don't do it? Because you're a fake Christian. You see, I can show you tons of verses from the Bible about fake people who God gave them talents and they never multiply it. You are the same as all the hypocrite mentioned in the Bible. In the same time, not only you are a hypocrite, you are a fool. It's like what it says in Roman, you know, professing themselves to be wise, they become fools. So I can call you a fool? Yes. I can call the Muslim fool? Yes. Anyone who believes that there is a God other than Jesus, according to the Bible, is fool. And not only that, he is an antichrist. Whoever denies the Son and the Father, he is an antichrist. And you stupid idiot, you are saying to me, what I am doing is not right. And when we use a profanity, we are being bad people. So I should not read for them what is written in their book. If their book say vagina, I should say watermelon. If their book say penis, I should say cucumber. Me see how stupid silly you are. So how we can teach. So when you go to the class and you learn about sex in the university, let's say you are a doctor, what the professor will call the penis, because it's a profanity. Hey, don't say penis. I'm a good Christian. Don't say vagina. Call it something else. Call it the cave. Hmm? Call it the black hole. Don't say anus. I mean, where those monkeys come to me from? I don't know. Listen, we as a Christian, we should not say those words. No, no, no. Uh, I mean, even like in the Song of Songs, there is a poetry which using words, maybe according to you, should condemn the one who said it. He's a bad person according to you. He's just a stupid idiot. And not only that, I wish the story ended here. He is asking me to respect, and he quote for you those verses. Supposedly, he is proving to me that I should speak respecting the devil. Are you sure? Why I want to speak with someone he believe in the devil to be his God would respect you, donkey? Ah, Lord, have mercy. In the Bible it says, he that walk with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of a fools he shall be destroyed. And this is the fool. I will show you later why he is a fool. Not only this, I mean, he made even bigger poo-poo. Uh, uh, so anyway, a Christian who respect Muslim for their belief is no Christian. I can respect a person because he is a human being and he is, created by God, like God created Adam in his image. But Adam as a person, was a bad person. He committed a great sin. Do I respect the sin of Adam? Do I respect Satan? Do I respect Muhammad? You see, you yourself, you use words against Muhammad. You did not respect Muhammad, you donkey. I thought you should speak with respect. He made another comment later. Let me go there. Trying to insult me is not answering my question. I did not insult you. Who are you? I did not insult. If somebody called you a donkey and you are a donkey, then you are a donkey. If I say you are smart and you are smart, then you are smart. But if I say you are smart and you are a donkey, obviously I am being like making fun of you because I call you smart when everybody knows that you are a donkey. So insult when you say something about someone is not true. Regardless you are saying he is good or bad. So I can say the devil is so good, man. Obviously everybody understand that I am making fun of the devil. I'm saying the opposite. But look what you have done here. I do not give you these King James Bible scriptures to belittle you. I ask you if those scriptures of Almighty Divine Father, Majesty, Infallible, Authority. I mean, look what this. Look, guys, look at the. Okay, and okay, uh, Jesus Christ, one character. First Corinthians 1:10. If we go to First Corinthians 1:10, I highlight it for you. You will see this verse is speaking about not to divide the Christians. We Christian, we should not be divided. All right? We Christian. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, that you all speak the same thing, and that there will be no division among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. So here you see, you are quoting for me something, proving to me that you are an idiot, you don't understand the Bible. And I will show you actually from your comment how you are an evil person, not only quoting the wrong verse for me. This verse is about not to give different opinion about the same issue. We are Christian, we believe in the same thing. We have to join together and come and teach the same thing, which means we don't want to be the same as the Muslims. He say, she say, etc. Everybody have his own opinion. So we have people who we trust, people who know Jesus, people who spoke to him, and people who've been inspired by him. And those people, when they agree upon something, we as a Christian, we should agree with them. But what does have to do with my topic? Nothing, except I believe that God, he used your foolishness to get you busted. As long as this verse is speaking about not to have division, all right? You can read any translation you want. No division, all right? Don't bring division. Look what this maniac, he said in the same comment. We will go over the verses he mentioned, but just to show you how stupid he is. I know you know the almighty divine God word alone. KGVP. I mean, this guy, he's obsessed with the King James. That's it. This is the God word is KGV. You know, like that's it. He's stupid. This is the translation. And then, very well, an Islamic religion, very well. We must remember that those who have no idea, they have been deceived, are babies, no matter their age. What? Muhammad, at the age of 54, he is baby. The Muslim who slaughter and kill Christians, they are babies. Jesus says they are babies. That's it. Can you show me the verse from the Bible that says they are babies? Maybe straight comparing Quran versus King James version. See again, we compare KJV. That's it. You know, not Bible. He's not a Bible person. He is just this translation. Scripture straight might away instead of arguing whether they listen or not. Why we need to argue? So we should not debate them, man. We should not prove them wrong. Just compare and then go to sleep. Show verse here, verse there. The Muslim will leave Islam right away. But here you see how stupid you are. How many times Jesus he argued with the Jews? How many times he debated them? In fact, all Jesus talking to the Pharisees is a debate. Everything. He said to them, what you say of Christ? Who is a Christ? They said he is a son of David. He said, well, if he's son of David, then why David call him Lord in his spirit? It's a debate. The Jews, even when they don't like his answers, they want to kill him. They chase him. They throw rocks at him because they could not answer his refutation. So according to your stupidity, we should not argue with Muslims. So there is 1 point whatever billion. We just show them a verse from the Bible, they leave Islam. As simple as that. Easy teasy. We should not say to somebody, like when Paul, he came to Europe and went all the way to Rome, he should not tell the Roman, you worship pagan god, those idols, fake fictions. He should not. It's insult. You're insulting their God. Not right. Just show them a verse from the Bible. And that's it, they will become believers. As easy as that. That is showing us that you are a satanic, wicked person trying to sugarcoat Satan. You don't want me to describe Satan the way he is. It's hurting your feeling. I believe strongly that Satan is using your mouth. Because why you want to be upset if I show the Muslims the profanity, as you call it, in their books, which is obvious to be satanic, the fastest, the easiest way to prevent anyone from converting to Islam and to show anyone who's a Muslim how sick this garbage is. Because I can say to them, Jesus is God from now until tomorrow. But if I did not prove to them that their book is false, they would not be listening. They knew that the Christian believe in Jesus God. And the Bible is over. And they are attacking the Bible. The whole Quran is based on attacking the Bible. But just to show you how wicked this person is, when he quote for us the verses in the First Corinthians, which is about not to spread division. If we go down here, look what he said. Or telling the history of Muhammad, his rich Catholic wife. What? What? You little clown? Is it you who said we should not spread division? So now you are defending the Muslims, throwing the Catholic under the bus, making up a big fat lie. You son of the devil. I want you to show the Christians here where you got this is from, that Khadijah was a Catholic. And he mentioned, by the way, her uncle. Okay? Telling the history of Muhammad, his rich Catholic wife, and her Jesuit. Guys, Waraq ibn Nawfal was a Jesuit. Hello, Jesuit. How you doing? Yes, I am Jesuit. Yeah, you know. I will tell you those monkeys, donkeys, where they get this information from. Those are the seven Adventists who they are fake Christians. All the garbage you can imagine is here. Why the Catholic they wear red hat? Anyone knows? Because this is where they used to put the blood of the Christians and drink it. In the video, he says that. Who is Khadijah? She is the wife, the Catholic wife, and the Catholic is the one who make Islam and protect Islam. Yes, brother. This is true. This is a true, brother.
They control vast areas, a huge area, but initially where Christianity was, today you can put Islam. There's an interesting story that some say that the red fez comes from having dipped the blood into the Christians, having dipped the fez into the Christian blood at Fez. Whether that is true or not,
He's a professor, you know, he's a professor, but he say things he do not know if it's true or not. But I say it. I like to say things.
I would not wish to speculate, but
you will not, okay.
It's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Gary H. Carr, remember, speaks of the ancient mystery religion.
Anyway, I don't want to go with this shit. You can watch it, this video here. You can watch it and die laughing. But here you see how such a stupid monkey like this person, I can't call you Christian, you're a monkey, you're a chimpanzee actually. He quote for me First Corinthians about not to divide, not to bring division between the Christians. And then he falsely fabricate lies about more than 1.5 billion Christian, claiming that the Catholic is the one who created Islam. And Muhammad, by the way, based on this, is a Catholic, because if Khadijah was a Catholic, Muhammad must be Catholic, because a Catholic woman, she have to marry in a Catholic church, a person who is baptized by a Catholic priest. As simple as that. So according to this monkey, who he claimed that he don't like to insult, he don't like to disrespect. You see, he was schooling me why I am calling Muslims. Actually, he said to me, it's okay to call Muslim donkeys. I understand. He said that. But he have no problem He claimed that Jesuit, they worship angels. The Jesuit, they worship angels? Are you sure? Really? Where do you get this from? From the video here? That video I showed you? I mean, do you see that you are just a full of shit? Literally. Literally. Right? I cannot say more. I have to. I took advantage of this post actually before we, move on to show you how many people they lie. Never respect a person. He lie about Protestant. He lie about Catholic. He lie about anything. I mean, if somebody he is a Protestant, he do something, believe in something, say it. But be honest. Don't fabricate lies. If somebody is a Catholic, he believe in something, he believes wrong, say it, but don't fabricate lies. You will see many monkeys, they say that Catholic worship Mary. Whoever says that, he's a monkey, he's a liar. The Catholic believe in the Trinity the same as we do. I don't approve many of things they do, like icons, pictures, and this Pope. But still, they are Christians. Anyone who come to you would lie about Orthodox, check it out. Because liars are loose. Since the devil is loose, he is the father of all lies. When somebody say to you something, ask him where is the reference. Like this monkey here, when he said that Kadijah, she was a Catholic, rich woman, and her uncle was Jesuit, Waraq ibn Nawfal. In fact, I believe Waraq ibn Nawfal is the real father of Muhammad. Ask the monkey where you got this information from. As simple as that, because you have to tell me where you get this from. Which book? Who said that? Is that this monkey here? If I play his video, we will die laughing at the stupidity of what he's saying. This guy is just collecting things from the internet, whatever article suit his agenda, and he putting it for you in a slide. If I play his video, every 2 seconds, I'm going to stop him and get him busted. Right? Me, myself, I spoke against the Pope when he says something bad. Like when the Pope says, we and Muslim believe in the same God, obviously this Pope is an apostate. He's no Christian no more. Because the Bible says it clearly. Whoever denies the Son and the Father is an Antichrist. Not only not Christian, he's an Antichrist. Not only not a believer, he's an Antichrist, he's an enemy. So if you say that we have the same God, then you are saying that the teaching of the Bible is false. The God of Abraham is a spirit. From the first page in the Bible, the God of Islam is not a spirit. The God of Islam have zero ethic. The God of Christianity is God of ethic. The God of Islam, his heaven is a pimp house. Your orgasm will be 70 years. A stupid idiot like this guy will say to me, don't use that word orgasm. Profanity. You're stupid. This is what it says. If you don't like it, don't come here. I mean, those people, they watch movies every day in TV, and the F word in every 2 seconds. They don't mind. They don't mind. But when we share the truth in order to save the fools and to guide and to share knowledge with the Christians so we can arm them so they can defeat the devil, they get upset. You get upset because Satan inside you, he got hurt. It's like when you say to a fornicator, you're a fornicator. Like if I speak right now, and God knows how many fornicators is in the chat, whoever a fornicator will feel bad. Some they are going to humble themselves. They say, he's right. I commit sin. Some they will be upset and they will start to seek revenge by attacking me because I mentioned their sin. So, and fornication have many methods. It can be by defending the devil. It can be by spreading lies, as you are doing, defending the devil and spreading lie about the Catholic. It can be by attacking a Christian who is making thousands and thousands of Muslims leaving Islam, become Christians. In the same time, the Bible speaks about such filthy people like this guy. They never do anything, but they have big mouth to teach you how to do things. Right? So when he mentioned for us from the Bible verses, did he even read them? Did he read Matthew? As long as you did read Matthew 22, did you read Matthew 23? Or only those verses is the one you like, you know? Aren't you ashamed of your stupidity? Huh? Seriously, aren't you ashamed? Which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus said to them, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is like into you, do to to others the same as you do to yourself. Well, I wish the Muslims what I wish to myself, to go and follow my Lord to be saved. And how I can do it? I will do what Jesus did. He rebuked the Pharisees. He exposed their filth and their lies and their hypocrisy. In other words, he got them busted. This is what Jesus did. This is what the disciple did. So you quote for me here saying that you wish to others, the wish will not just, the wish should accompany with work. Okay, I wish Muslims will leave Islam. How that will make them leave Islam now? You're stupid. You understand the verses wrongly. Imagine if Jesus said, I wish that all people will believe in me. Okay, and then he never come. He wish. I wish that next year, me as a farmer, my wheat will grow, but I did not put seeds. I wish I will have a son next year, but I did not get married. I wish I will have a nice lunch, but I don't have food, and I'm not interested to do any work for the food. So according to your stupidity, you understand this in the way which is only satanic people do. You don't want to do work. You want just to wish. Taking the word of Jesus out of context and taking them out of what the meaning. Jesus himself, he called himself the good shepherd. Do you know what the shepherd do? He don't wish that the sheep will stay safe. He protect the sheep. This is why it's called the shepherd. Do you know why we call our God our Father? Because he work. As Jesus said, my Father work and I work too. And what his work is? He's our provider. That's why we call him Father. The first thing about the Father is the one who provides you. What kind of Father? As Jesus said, who of you, ask him, your son ask for a bread, you give him a snake. So the Father is called a Father because simply he provide, he work. I work, and my Father work too. And the work of Jesus is a great work. It was not a wish. For you, you think here that loving the neighbor is about loving the Muslims' wickedness. I don't love wicked. I will never love them. It's against the Bible. When, each time I go live, I say, peace for those who love peace and no peace for the wicked, the Lord said. Is that biblical? Yes. What peace mean? Peace mean love. Peace comes from love. If you love somebody, you will never harm. Do you harm someone you love? You do the opposite. God is not what some fools say to you, especially some so-called fake Christians, that the Bible says God loved the world. Oh, okay, he loved the world, but he will burn the world too. He will destroy this world. The Messiah is going to gather people from around the world who they belong to him, and the rest they will be sent to hellfire. This is not love. This is an extreme penalty. So the foolish one, they give you speeches about love. They think that, do Jesus love somebody is homosexual? The answer in the Bible. It's a great abomination against God. God, he burns cities. Did he burn the cities because he loved them? Stupidity is amazing. People don't go to hell because God loved them. People go to hell because they don't and will not receive any love from God. Those who God loved them, he called them my childrens. Those who refuse to be his children, they will be cast out in hellfire. They hate themselves by refusing the Father. So when I speak to Muslims, I'm not going to kiss their butt and say, Jesus loves you. Well, Jesus loved to save them, but not literally loving them. Because as long you are wicked, Jesus, like Jesus says, I came to the sick, right? But what if the sick, he want to be sick? He loved to be sick. Then you are sick. Jesus says to those, even who they are Christians, those who they are Christians, depart away from me, I do not know you. He will say that to people who they are Christians. How you say that to them? I thought Jesus loved everybody. Huh? Why Jesus who loved everybody? He said to you, you quote from me, wish to others what you wish to your neighbor. Wish to yourself what you wish to your neighbor. Why he will say to Christians who they are supposedly even maybe priests? Why he will say to them, I do not know you? The answer is very simple. You do not know them. They were working for their own glory. And Jesus explained that. I do not know you. Depart away from me. How Jesus will know us? Jesus gave us tons of parables in the Bible about the virgins waiting with the lamp. Some they have oil, some they don't. What does that mean about those some have oil, some they don't have oil? Hmm? What does that mean? Well, the one have oil is the one have work. The foolish one, like you, he think he remember two verses from the Bible, but you never bring one Muslim out of Islam and to make him believe and follow Jesus. You did not save one chicken from the chickens of Islam. But you go around with big mouth, attacking those who do the work. If you go to your church right now and ask your priest who gets salary every month, and people call him father falsely, because there's only one father, and ask them how many Muslims left Islam because of your majesty. He could not even rebuke his church people. He just gives speeches. He don't even dare to hurt their feeling, to say fornication is wrong, you will go to hell. Don't come here if you are a fornicator. Repent. He interested to collect donation like Muhammad. Those people are antichrist. They want gold and silver, and God is a business. And then he gave me a speech about humbling myself. It looked like this guy he see, he hear me saying I am the. I make fun of myself. I make fun of my look. I mean, how humble can I can be? What a kind of a disgusting people, man. Satan is hurt. Satan is in pain. Satan, he cannot take it. And then he quote for us all those verses, but the second you start reading them, you will see how wicked this person is. Like when he said to us, John 17:17, shall we say? Just to show you how stupid this person is. Are you sure you are quoting for me the right verses? Sanctify them by the truth. Your word is the truth. So should I say the word penis or should I say a cucumber? Which one is the truthful one? Do you see how stupid you are when you quote for me a verse from the Bible? Shall I say Muhammad is a child molester, or should I respect that there is a prophet as you asked me to do? What a wicked turtle you are. Truly you are a wicked person. Huh? Hmm. I don't know, but I hope we get the message, right? And anyone anyone who respect Muhammad is a false Christian. Anyone who respect Muslim belief is a false Christian. I remember once I was debating, not a, I cannot call it a debate. A woman and her husband, we met in a Starbucks. She is, from those dummy Jehovah's Witnesses. When she could not refute me, the woman, she said, oh, listen, please, there's no need for this. I respect your belief. I said, I don't respect your belief. You should see her face. I don't respect your belief. She looked at me. I said, if I respect your belief and I believe that your belief is false, that means I'm respecting lies. Is that true? If I say to somebody, I respect your belief, and I believe that your belief is a lie, I'm saying I respect lies. Speaking of respecting false belief is an act of the devil. So when you quote for me John 17, you coward, you are quoting for me a verse say, I have to speak with the truth. So if the Quran say vagina, I say vagina. If the Quran say penis, I say penis. I'm not going to make it cookies. You guys hear the verse saying cookies, okay? The cookies, women, she have legs. Between her legs, there's cookies. The men, they die to get them. I mean, I don't know if you understand now, because I should not use a profanity, Do you see how stupid you are? Do you see, guys, the stupidity? Any one of you respect Islamic belief, Jehovah's Witnesses belief, any kind of false belief. Do I respect the Pope? You see, I love the Catholic. I believe they are Christians like me, but I don't respect the Pope. Why? He said clearly that all religion lead to God. That is an antichrist statement. But I cannot judge the Catholic says that. I can say the Pope, the fifth is come back. He will be in hell. He said that. If any Catholic believe in what he believes, he is the same like him then. If he believe that all religion lead to God. But we know that the Catholic, many of them, especially bishops, they got so angry over the statement. And he fired them from their job. He fired them. Anyone who oppose him, anyone who criticize his faith, those are true Christians, those Catholic. They oppose lies. And there's tons of videos made by Catholic laughing at this filthy Pope. So do I respect the Pope? I will respect him when he deserves respect. As simple as that. But the same I do for someone who's a Protestant. Like, do I respect James White, who said, whoever say Islam has all is a terror is a liar? I don't respect this man. He's a Protestant. Who cares if you're a Protestant or what? This is not about, you know. Let me show you the video. Where is the video of this guy? Coward and potato. And he defend Islam. Yet he claimed to be a Christian, claimed to be a Protestant, he claimed, the same as the false Pope. The same, exactly. And the funny is, like, we have this Shamshun, the bald guy. He sent me his link saying that. He said, CP, look what this guy said. Please wipe the floor with him. So I made videos for James White, wiping the floor with him. A few weeks after, they told me, hey, CP, James White say hello to you. We will have dinner with him. Huh? Like, how you told me to wipe the floor with the guy? Few weeks after. Few weeks after. They go and they have dinner with him. What a kind of a devilish people. They praise God. God, look what I found here. This is Shamshun himself. Christian Prince, does James White know Islam? He cannot refute James White. He is using my videos. Do you see it? Shamshun channel. Shamshun channel. All right. But anyway, stupidity is amazing. And here you see even Muslim, they use their channels, their James White, to attack us. So my friend, to make it simple, from their fruits you shall know them, not from their speeches. This guy is giving us a speech. He's quoting for us verses proving him wrong. He is a satanic person. He got hurt. He wants us to respect Islam and to respect Muslims for believing in a filthy, wicked man who command them to rape our women and kill our children and to burn our churches. All right? I hope we cover this point. I will not keep you longer. Do we have any question? Always remember, when somebody come to you with a lie, check it out. When they say to you, a Catholic is the one who created Islam, those are the biggest fat liars ever. It's a disgusting accusation. Not only it's a big fat lie, it's a disgusting. Do you know how many men they died from the Catholic to defend our churches? Fighting the devil Mohammed? In fact, the Muslim, they hate nobody as much they hate two: Jews and Catholic. And number one is Catholic. The Jews is temporarily. That's why they used to say Saturday first and Sunday second, because now they have Israel. If Israel is not there, Sunday first. Never listen to liars. Never give them opportunity to spread lies. I don't want to talk about hadith now. I want to talk about the topic I mentioned. Anything else is not my topic now. All right? Did we have a good time? I hope we learned something, you know. And, you know, this is my experience with many during my journey fighting the devil. Satan, he will send you somebody from time to time to school you, to stop you, to tell you you are doing wrong because you are taking my babies. The devil is hungry. He wants more babies, and we are saving more babies. The devil will send those people who claim to be Christian, the clowns. They are a bunch of clowns. All right? We risk our life. I mean, when we say we risk our life, it's not even risk. It's a death penalty. You know how aggressive, filthy they are. I did not see the Middle East. Do you know how many years? You will not believe it. My father, he passed away. I could not go and attend the funeral. So after all what you do, you will see a clown coming to you. All right.